and welcome back to AGT STEM. Today we're going to be doing a video on Flerovium. So without further ado, let's up to it.
Флёров Георгий Николаевич создал институт, где открыли элемент 114, и название этого элемента его памятник. Brady and I were so excited that element 114 has finally got its official name that we felt that I should try and say a few words in Russian, because my father was born in Russia. We've already made 2 videos about the discovery of this element. First of all, how the discovery was confirmed and people really established that 114 had been made. And then the first time that the name was mentioned at the end of the 2011 International Year of Chemistry. So what's new? And what's new is that on the 30th of May this year, 2012, the element's name was officially adopted, and therefore we can make a new video to go in our periodic table of videos. So this is the official video of the element, depending whether you say it with a Russian accent or not, is called Flerovium or Flerovium, element 114. There is no official periodic table in the same way that there's a standard kilogram, but when a name is suggested, such as the name Flerovium was suggested in December last year, then people are allowed a few months to point out if there are any problems. In the case of element 112, copernicium, the symbol was changed from CP to CN during this discussion period. In the case of Flerovium, nothing has changed, and the element symbol is FL, big F, little l. Though in some fonts it looks like F1, which is possibly a problem. Now, like the other super heavy elements, these elements are synthesized by taking the nucleus of a heavy element, or an atom of a heavy element, and banging into it an element that is lighter. And so in this case, they take plutonium, which is element 94, and to make 114, you need 20. So you take a nucleus of calcium, which has atomic number 20, you accelerate calcium very rapidly, and eventually, after bombarding plutonium with millions or hundreds of billions of atoms, one of them will fuse together. You can see it's quite hard. You now have an element with a nucleus of atomic number 114, that's with 114 protons, that flies off to be analyzed. These experiments were done in the Russian research center Dubna, north of Moscow, which was founded by academician Flerov. The earlier elements, like element 105, there was huge nationalistic competition between US labs and Russian labs and arguing who discovered it first. These elements, 114 and 116, which were named at the same time, are a beautiful example of international collaboration. This element, like the ones round it, has only been seen in a really quite small number of atoms. So nobody has made any compound from it, though if you look at the periodic table, you will see it's in the same group as lead. This cup here was made before the name was announced, so it has the old symbol UUQ, and you would expect the chemistry of Flerovium to be rather like that of lead, only rather more so. So you might expect it to be a very dense and rather soft metal, highly radioactive, so you couldn't use it as weights for your fishing like people use lead, but it would probably be poisonous even if it were not radioactive. And its chemistry might be quite similar to lead, though as you go down the periodic table, you can get quite some surprises. Now, the real question that you might all be asking is if you can only make a few atoms of this element, why on earth does it need a symbol? Nobody is going to be writing textbooks about the chemistry of flerovium with flerovium oxide or flerovium sulfate. So why do you need this symbol? And the answer is that the symbol probably isn't useful in chemistry, but it's very useful in physics, because as you go to heavier elements, say element 116, 118, they will decay via some of these other elements, like 114. And so if you want to make charts like this one that I've got on my tie, with the different elements and how they decay away as they give out radioactive particles, gamma rays, you need the symbols. And if you don't have the symbol, then it's quite difficult to construct these. So the symbol does have a use, even though it's not particularly useful for day-to-day chemistry.
I don't really understand why anybody would be confused as to why it has a symbol. Because would they rather there just is an empty spot? I mean, it still has its purpose, even if there was no actual use in science for the symbol. It looks better on the periodic table if they all have symbols.
I've been to Russia quite frequently, lots and lots of times to Moscow, but not yet to Dubna, though it's one of the places that Brady and I really want to go. I have heard of Flerovium, of course, and his institute, but I think that it is rather sad that although he was alive at the time that these elements were discovered, the experiments were done, that he died before the name was officially announced. And so this is why at the beginning of the video I said that the name of this element is really his memorial. And I think it's a very positive memorial because it symbolizes how science has brought countries of the world together in a way, although I didn't know him, that I'm sure in his heart he really wanted.
Can I ask you a question? Would you rather have an element named after you or win a Nobel Prize?
Well, I think that's a very interesting question.
It's a very interesting question, indeed. I'd want to have an element named after me. Maybe we can name an element. I don't know. You should tell us your answer in the comments, just like how they did. Do you want a Nobel Prize or an element? I think an element would be more significant. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Stay smart. Bye!